Hello, it's Lee here. Welcome to part 2 of Let's Create an Explosion book. So this is what we got to in the last episode. The foundation is made, and the next thing I want to do is make the cover. So that's the book when you open it right out, when you fold it up, and it tucks away, and that's what it looks like. So I've cut a piece or 2 pieces of a nice thick cardboard because I want my covers to be nice and sturdy, and I'm going to cover them in tea-dyed paper. I've got a few things here on my desk that I'm going to use to build up some texture on the cover. So the first thing I'm going to do is cover these in this paper. So I will only need to do one side, but I need to overlap a little bit because the other side is going to be glued down on top here. And you will see, because the cover's a little bit bigger than the book, you will see a tad of it sticking out. Now, we're talking junk journals here, and it's not a perfect world. It doesn't matter if your covers are not exactly the same size. So I know mine aren't quite, they might be a couple of mil out like you can see here. They're probably not square, but it's a junk journal and it doesn't matter. Not to me anyway. Okay, so first of all I'm going to cover these. So I've covered my fronts and backs with the tea-dyed paper, and I'm just going to use some distress oxides to do a little bit of stenciling on them. So I'm going to use this favourite new stencil of mine, and frayed burlap and brushed corduroy inks to do that with. So the brushed corduroy is actually an oxide and the frayed burlap is a distress ink. Using a brush to just lightly create some patterning on these covers. So I'm going to use the brushed corduroy just to add a nice flower onto the back cover only. And on the front cover, after I've done the stenciling, I'll add some textural elements such as some collaging, that type of thing. Okay, I told a lie. I am going to put something else on the back. I've got this little stamp here which I like, so I'm just going to put a couple of bits of that on there. I'm going to stencil the front cover now with the frayed burlap. And once I finish doing the pattern all over it, I'll use the dauber to go around the edge of the page, the cardboard, because it's quite thick and I think it looks nice when it's got that bit of colour around the edge. Here's the fun bit. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to put on the front cover. So I've got a whole heap of bits and pieces off to my right there, and I'm just going to fiddle around and audition a few things, work out what I'm going to put on there. And I find these pieces that I had previously cut up and stitched around, thinking that they would be my covers, and then I decided they weren't heavy enough and I'd cut them too small anyway. So I thought on top of the cardboard they look really nice. I like the colours, and that was made from a masterboard that I made quite some time ago. I've had them sitting there waiting to be used, looking for a good purpose. So I was really happy with how this turned out in the end. I'm using double-sided tape and art glitter glue to attach this plate onto the cover. Trying to get it nice and square. I think it's fairly straight, which is unusual for me. I usually have everything a bit cockeyed. I love the colours in that. I think it looks great. Let me know what you think of this cover. So here I go, auditioning bits and pieces to see what I can put where. I really wanted to get that little painting onto the cover, and I'm thinking about putting some words across the top. So I've found a sheet from Which Craft Do You Do, which has words and numbers and labels and things. So I've cut out the word memoir and a date and backed them onto a bit of book page. I'm going to attach them to the cover. I've also cut out a butterfly that I printed onto acetate, and I'll glue that on as well. I'll use the art glitter glue to attach the acetate butterfly as well, and I strategically placed the just little dots of glue on the butterfly and in places where if it showed it really wouldn't be noticed. So I'd done a test piece on, a test patch on a scrap of the acetate, and it really does dry quite clear. So I put dots in each of the circles, and then one on the corner of each wing, and then at the top and the bottom. And even with it being wet and white, you can't see the glue through the pattern of the butterfly, so I was happy with the way that turned out. So that's the front cover decorated. Time to get on to the insides. Do the little notebook later on. So I just want to talk about the sort of things that you can put into them. So you are limited, of course, by the size and the fact that that has to fold. But I've got a few little knickknacks here. I think just sticking in, just little cards and little bits and pieces of ephemera will make it look nice. So I have a couple of little doodly watercolour doodles here. Might stick a couple of them in, and I've also got like these little watercolour paintings. Can pop them into the pockets, that'd be no problem. But I really want to do some stenciling, and that one needs to be cut down because it won't go in to the pocket. Let's ditch that one and try a different one. Okay, the same thing will happen on that because it's too tall. I could cut a bit off the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down a little bit and then turn it into a tag. corners off. Just going to eyeball it. And maybe ink the edge a little bit. Make sure it's going to fit in. That'll fit in there nicely. Now I'm going to ink around that. And that can just slip in there. So I want to do some stenciling. That's a nice one. That's another nice one. So I'm going to put some stenciling on those 2 pages, these bigger ones. So I'll just use walnut stain and the brush to do that. So I've chosen a beehive, honeycomb I should say, stencil, one with gears on it, some mandala type stencils and some just letters and numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and stencil a few of these pages, probably most of them I'd say. Can we do a bit of stamping on it now? So I think that'll do for the stamping. If I do any other stamping, it'll be like a specific item, like a butterfly or something like that. Now I'm just going to collect some bits and pieces from my ephemera stash, things like little birds, butterfly cutouts, that sort of thing, and glue them into the book itself. Okay, so I fussy cut a few things out. I changed my mind about the type of little booklet I was making, and I've just made it pretty much a plain little book, and I've used a book page out of a butterfly field guide as the cover. A few pages there which I've just sewn in with a sewing machine, and at the back there's some other little pages that could be torn off, and I thought I would put it into the book somehow, hold it in there. I'm not sure how yet. Probably with a belly band or something like that. But across my desk you can see all different butterflies and plants and things. So I'm just going to randomly glue them all down, or most of them, down onto the pages of the explosion book. So we're pretty much going to turn it into a like collage in a lot of places, and tear corners off where I need to. This is more of a book to look at than anything else. It wouldn't really be suitable for journaling purposes. I mean, you could use it to journal in, but it would be pretty difficult. Yeah. I've got these little, it's just off some Tim Holtz packaging, so I might stick that there, because it goes with the photography on there. Anyway, I'm just going to bang on with this, and you can see what you think of it when I've finished. Well, I finished decorating the inside of it. So with this little book here, I ended up gluing this pocket on, but I didn't glue it. I only glued it from there to there. So it's sort of like a tuck spot, but it's a pocket. So that's the little booklet I made. Then up this end, I've used a watercolour painting. I hinged it and put a couple of brads in here as a closure, and inside is another little pad. Now that can hang on the edge there like that as well. And on the outside I've just put a bit of tape over the arms of those brads. So on the outside I might have to put something over those pieces of tape. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a bit of tape there, and there's a bit of tape under this one as well. So now it's time to put the covers on. Let's see what difference that makes to the sturdiness. So that's the way it's going to open up. So that's the front, that's the back. This is what I've got for the back cover. I didn't realise, because this isn't a square, it's slightly rectangular, and when I put that flower on, I put it on the wrong way, so my covers don't match up. So that I had to do some more stenciling to hide that error. So that's that. So that's the back cover. Now for a tie, all I'm going to do is just glue in a piece of this binding. Well, I don't know whether you've noticed this huge mistake I'm making here. I was going to cut all this out, but I thought I'd show it to you. But you can't put a closure like this onto this type of book, and you will see that when I get the other cover on and then open it up, because it opens at the other side as well. So you can't have a tie like this. You've got to have something that's connected at one end, and it's got to go all the way around the book. I hope you understand what I mean, but you're going to see the big boo-boo in a minute. This is what it looks like from the outside, the back cover. I still may glue something on that. I do have another piece of the this. Yeah, so that's the back, that's the front. Now, I made a really big mistake when I did the ties, as you would have seen. It needs to be attached to only one, and then it's got to be something that you wrap around. You can't have one on each one because the other end is open. Okay, something to think of if you make one. Don't do that. So this is just going to have like this little one, just a loose piece of something tied around it. Anyway, so when you open the book, this is what you get inside. I'm loving it. I think it's great. But there's only one thing I don't like about it, and that's the weight of the paper that I used. I think the bigger your paper that you use, because I use 12-inch pieces, the stronger or thicker it needs to be. Otherwise it opens fine, but it doesn't just close back up. It sort of does, but not in the way that you would want it to. But anyway, there she is in all her glory. So I may still put some other bits and pieces on. I think some gold splashes here and there might look nice. And yeah, so we started off with 3 pieces of 12-inch square paper, 1, 2 and 3. So this book is, so it is 35 inches wide, or in centimeters that is 89 when it's opened right out. When it's closed up, it's 6 inches square. Alright. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Let me know if you make one, how it turned out. So I'm just going to use a piece of coloured, this will do, just a piece of dyed cotton by the look of it. I'm just going to rip it down the centre, I don't need it to be that thick. Tie it up with that. So these would make a lovely gift. I mean, there's a lot of work involved in making it. I probably worked on it for a full 3 days, you know, all up. So 24 hours in total. Yeah, it was worth it. And I think you can use all sorts of themes, it'd be nice. And what I like about it too is you can just open up a section at a time. So that's the first part. And we've got that little book just hanging on there. You could put something else under here. It'll tear off a rough little pad. And that's watercolour painting that I just hinged onto here. And use brads to hold that on as a closure, I should say. A lot of this is just scraps. That's off packaging. These butterflies all came out of a wildlife type book. That's scrap file folder. That was something I made and I didn't like it, so I pulled it apart. One of my watercolour flowers. I wonder if you can do this. Yes, you can. Okay. Oh, that's the back of it. Missed the middle. No, you can't. Okay. And yeah, these are just leftovers from other projects. Got the little fly or whatever it is in behind there. And some journaling cards. Transparent butterflies that they've been printed on to acetate sheets. And just generally stuck things all over the place. We've got the 2 pockets here and another one here with this little book made. Oh, that's a page out of butterfly field book stitched together on the sewing machine. So that just pops in there. And all in all, I'm quite happy with it. I may put something extra. What am I doing? Bring these ones in first, and those ones go backwards. There it is again. And yeah, could just do a little bit more enhancing on it, but that's it for the time being. So I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, let me know if you made one. Or if you make one and how it turns out. Don't make the mistake I made with the tie. I was lucky that I was able to get in, because my cover is slightly bigger than the actual book page, so I was able to get my scissors, and I didn't glue right to the edge, so I could get the scissors in and cut off that tie that I'd glued in there. when I went to do it originally, I'm thinking, I need to put a really long piece on this, and then I thought, oh no, why don't I just put this short piece on each end? But yeah, that does not work. Alright, thanks for being on this little journey with me, and I've got a few other little books coming up that I want to show you how you can make, how easy they are for beginners to make, and maybe some Halloween stuff. So I bought some little knickknacks. Alright, happy crafting. Let me know how you get on. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and so hugs and cheers from Australia. Hooroo, thanks for watching.